So you're in the legal profession, you've made it through law school, you've earned that prestigious degree. But let's be honest, you've also probably taken on a pretty massive liability. Today, we are going to break down a really powerful strategy to not just pay down that law school debt, but to master it so you can truly take control of your financial future. Okay, let's just start with the reality on the ground. For a law school grad in 2026, the average debt load is sitting north of $200,000. But I need you to hear this loud and clear. That number is not some kind of personal failure. In the world you operate in, high finance, high stakes law, this is a structural reality. Think of it as a leveraged position you've taken on your own career. Now, this isn't exactly a new problem, right? But it has absolutely reached a critical peak. And that number, well, it's way more than just a loan. It's an operational liability. It's the thing quietly in the background dictating which career moves you can make, the kinds of risks you can afford to take, and frankly, your ability to build real wealth during your most productive years. So because of that, we have to completely reframe the problem. This isn't just debt. It's a strategic shackle. And that's especially true in today's market, where you've got big loss salaries kind of plateauing while the cost of living just keeps soaring. If you follow the old generic advice in this new environment, well, that's just a recipe for stagnation. So the big question is, how do we break these shackles? Well, I can tell you it's not with the one-size-fits-all advice you hear everywhere. You know, the usual methods, snowball, avalanche, they're fine for some people, sure, but for a legal professional's cash flow, they're basically blunt instruments. You require a strategy built on surgical precision and a crystal clear understanding of opportunity cost. And that's exactly what we're calling the Sovereign Method. And this right here, this gets to the absolute core philosophy behind the method. It all comes down to a fundamental choice. Are you going to be a servant to your degree, letting this debt call the shots for the next decade of your life? Or are you going to become the sovereign over your career, using your powerful income strategically? It is a massive shift in mindset. The engine that drives this whole sovereign mindset is a tactic called selective amortization. Now, the key here is to completely shift your focus. Forget about just looking at simple interest rates. We're going to focus on the much more powerful concept of opportunity cost. We stop asking, which loan has the highest interest rate? And we start asking, where is my capital most effective for building my long-term wealth? It flips the whole script. So how does it actually work? Well, the method breaks down into 3 core steps. It's pretty straightforward. First, we identify and we categorize all of your debt into these specific zones. Second, we deploy what we call found liquidity, things like bonuses, tax refunds, with that surgical precision we talked about. And third, we transition from just repaying debt to actively managing the spread between your assets and your liabilities. First up is Zone 1, the toxic zone. Okay, think of this as the immediate threat. This is your 5-alarm fire. We're talking private loans with those nasty variable rates, or maybe some high-interest credit card debt from bar prep. You know the stuff. These loans have zero federal protections, no tax benefits. The strategy here is simple, it's aggressive, you eliminate them with extreme prejudice. Okay, once that fire is out, we move on to Zone 2, the neutral zone. This is where your standard federal loans, like Grad PLUS loans, live. Now, the strategy here is not about aggressive repayment. It's about intelligent management. By using income-driven repayment plans the right way, you can keep these payments predictable, manageable, which, and this is the crucial part, frees up your capital to be deployed much more effectively somewhere else. And this brings us to the really sophisticated part, Zone 3, the strategic zone. This is where you actually graduate from simply paying off debt to integrating it into your larger financial architecture. For partners, for solo practitioners, this means leveraging the tax code, really understanding how interest deduction limits play with your tax bracket, and basically treating these payments as a strategic part of your business. This is the end game. This is what we're working towards. Once you've neutralized all that toxic debt and you're strategically managing your federal loans, you hit a crossover point. At that moment, you're no longer just a debtor. You are a capital manager, and you're actively managing the spread between the growth of your assets and the cost of your liabilities. The ultimate objective of this entire strategy has a name. It's the point of neutrality. So what is that? It's that beautiful moment when your investment growth rate consistently starts to outpace the effective interest rate of your remaining debt. See, the goal isn't just a $0 balance. It's total, absolute financial control. Okay, let's bring it all together. What are the key takeaways here? First, stop thinking of your debt as some moral failing. Start treating it like what it is, a leveraged position on your incredibly valuable career. Second, deploy the selective amortization method to categorize and attack your liabilities with that surgical precision. And third, remember your ultimate goal, the point of neutrality. That's what unlocks your ability to build significant net worth, even while you're still servicing that JD debt. And that really leaves us with one final question for you to think about. Now that you've seen this framework, you really do have a choice. Are you going to continue being a servant to your degree, or will you decide to take control and become the sovereign over your career?
All right, first up, let's break down path number 1. This is the noble, and for some people, the incredibly lucrative route of public service loan forgiveness.
So what exactly is public service loan forgiveness, or pslf as everyone calls it? Look, the deal is actually pretty straightforward. You commit to 10 years, that's 120 monthly payments, while working full-time in a qualifying job, government or a nonprofit. You do that, and after that decade, poof, the entire remaining balance on your federal loans is gone, wiped out, tax-free. Okay, and this is the magic number you need to remember. If your total student debt is sitting at 3 times your annual income, or even higher, then suddenly the math on pslf starts to look, well, incredibly compelling. You're looking at a massive, massive return on your investment. It's just undeniable.
But, and this is a huge but, that incredible ROI comes with a major trade-off. See, while you're getting that amazing tax-free discharge, you are also signing up for a lower salary right in the middle of which should be your peak earning years. This is what we call the golden handcuffs dilemma. I mean, really think about it. Does it make sense to stay in a, say, $90,000 a year public service job just to get your debt erased when you could potentially be earning $300 grand over in the private sector? Over 10 years, that's a pre-tax earnings difference of more than $2 million. That's a number you absolutely have to bake into your calculations.
Okay, so now let's pivot and look at the other side of the coin. Path number 2, private refinancing. This is really the path for folks who want to go all in on maximizing their income in the private sector and just attack that debt head on. What is it? Simply put, you're swapping your government loan for a brand new one from a private bank or lender. And why would you do that? The goal is simple. Lock in a much, much lower interest rate. A lower rate means more of your payment goes to the principal, and you can just demolish that debt with incredible speed. Now, here's something you need to understand. As a lawyer, you have a ton of leverage in this game. Private lenders are literally competing for your business. Why? Because statistically, you are an incredibly low-risk borrower. You're very unlikely to default. And that competition, it gets you access to what they call elite-tier interest rates, the kind of rates that federal programs just can't touch.
So the trade-off here is crystal clear, right? On one hand, you get this fantastic interest rate and total freedom to go out and maximize your earnings, but the catch, and it's a big one, is that you give up every single federal safety net. That means no more income-driven repayment plans, no deferment if you lose your job, no forbearance if you hit a rough patch. You are completely 100% on your own.
Okay, so with both paths laid out in front of us, we've arrived at the moment of truth, the decision point. This isn't about what feels right. This is about making a cold, calculated, objective choice for your future. This is the sovereign choice. So what you're seeing here, this is the decision matrix. It really breaks down the 2 core philosophies. On the left, you've got the public service path. Think of it as subsidized security. It's a 10-year commitment, your salary is capped by the sector, but you have that full federal protection. And on the right, you've got the private path. This is high-risk, high-reward autonomy. Your earning potential is literally unlimited, but you have zero, and I mean zero, federal safety nets to catch you if you fall.
Look, if you take one thing away from this, let it be this. Do not make this decision based on emotion. I don't care if it's fear of the high-stakes private market or frustration with bureaucratic government programs. You have to push all of that to the side. You need to approach this with total objectivity. The same kind of clinical, surgical precision you would bring to a high-stakes case for your most important client. And the key to achieving that objectivity, it comes down to one single, powerful calculation: your net freedom date. What you have to do is this. For each path, you need to calculate the exact date, the month, the day, the year, that you will be 100% free of this debt. You have to account for everything: your projected salary, the different interest rates, and all the tax implications of forgiveness. You run the numbers for both, and the answer becomes simple. Which path gets you to true financial freedom faster? That's your answer.
Okay, so we've covered the landscape, we've talked about the tactics, we've framed the ultimate choice. But look, all of this information is just noise if you don't do anything with it. So let's turn all this analysis into immediate, concrete action, right now. Here's your homework, your first steps. Number 1, I want you to conduct a full audit of every single loan you have. I'm talking amounts, who the servicer is, what the interest rates are, everything. Number 2, identify your toxic zone. These are your highest interest loans, the ones that are doing the most damage to you financially every single month. And number 3, start doing the math. Begin calculating that crossover point, that net freedom date we just talked about.
I want you to remember something. You are a lawyer. You solve complex, messy problems for a living. That's what you do. Your student debt, it is not a personal failing. It is a line item on your personal balance sheet. It's a business component, and right now, this is the most important case on your desk. It's time to solve it.
The first step on this road, the first step to building your own financial sovereignty and becoming the architect of your own destiny, it starts with one single action. Not tomorrow, not next week, today. Audit your debt. Today. Let's get to work.